Coming up on ACMi News, welcoming a new shop to the block. The first cannabis dispensary opens its doors to all adult customers. Also, anger and disapproval of the Select Board's decision to remove the BLM banner sparked a rally at Town Hall. And Arlington introduces a new monument to honor a fallen soldier who fought in the Vietnam War. All of that and more up next.
From McLennan Park to Spy Pond, from Poets Corner to the Mystic River, we have Arlington covered. We're your neighbors, a friend you can turn to. This is ACMi News.
Welcome to ACMi News. I'm Maxim Isaac. Thanks for watching this week's newscast. For many cannabis users, it's your lucky day. Not only did Apotheca relocate with a new store layout, they are now offering services to both medical and recreational users. Reporters Isabel Latourus stopped by the shop and has the story.
When Apotheca opened on Water Street in 2018, it became Arlington's first medical marijuana dispensary. This month, Apotheca relocated to the Mass Ave Strip in Arlington Heights, this time reopening its doors for recreational purposes.
On Water Street, we just dealt with just medical patients that had medical issues that came in to get medicine. Up here, we're opening it up to everybody that's 21 plus, that is a medical patient or a non-medical patient, to see the benefits of cannabis.
Gary Morrison, the senior team lead at Apotheca, talked about the variety of products available at the dispensary.
We offer flower, traditional buds, to pre-rolls, to gummies, to chocolates, to tinctures. The high anxiety that's going on with the upcoming election and also during, the pandemic, that a lot of people are suffering from anxiety. So one thing that I think people intuitively know, that cannabis can help that and help kind of balancing out and let you chill out a little bit.
A bud tender at Apotheca, Diana Dixon, expressed her confidence in the safety of legal marijuana and explained the strict protocols that dispensaries have to follow in order to participate in the legal marijuana market.
I want to emphasize how much regulation and compliance goes into this industry, which is a major reason why I'm here. It makes it a more serious medicine, and it is regulated as a medicine. So it affects every single part of our procedures, from the grow, seed to sale. The plant is tracked that entire way. So we know what seeds created what products. Massachusetts has an intriguing system set up in that we either have to grow it and make it ourselves or buy it from a licensed grower, maker, or other dispensary. So at Apotheca, we do all of that. We've got our own flower and pre-rolls with the Apotheca label, and then we have some from manufacturers who supply to dispensaries, and then we have products that we buy from other Massachusetts dispensaries, according to what our inventory needs.
She also addressed the question about marijuana safety and the difference between buying it on the street and at a dispensary.
It has absolutely nothing to do with what is found on the street. This is where we got into the vape crisis of last year, all right? That was unregulated cartridges. Our cartridges are tested for purity, for excellence. They are very, very safe. So that was the difference in some cases between life and death. There's no difference between the quality of the medical products and the adult use product. They are all tested to a very, very high standard. So it's an ounce limit for adult use per day, because that is what one is allowed to hold on their person. And medical, it's much bigger. It's 10 ounces over 60, or in Arlington, 5 ounces over 30-day supply. That is the maximum you can buy.
Diana talked about how the dispensary could directly impact Arlington financially.
I want to talk about money, because a lot of people want to know what happens with the money. Cannabis does generate a lot of money, legalized medical cannabis, certainly much more than the black market, because it is taxed for the benefit of the community, the host community. That means a lot to Arlington. So the product has its price, which is set by the market, but then there's 20% on top of that. And that is broken down between the state and the host community. So 20% is a lot, but it's to a very good cause. Black market never gave that much to Arlington.
Gary talked about the stigma that surrounds the growing cannabis industry.
There's been a stigma against cannabis that it's evil, it's bad, it's only what people that are unsavory do, and it's not true because it's more mainstream now that people understand that microdosing of edibles helps with performance for running, for exercise. There's a lot of benefits, and also reducing anxiety for people, and just overall health and well-being.
On October 15th, Diana will be a panelist in a community conversation on marijuana hosted by Arlington Community Education. Diana and Gary encourage anyone who is interested and 21 plus to enter the store and continue the conversation about cannabis.
Thanks, Isabel. Make sure to bring your ID if you plan on going to Apotheca. We now turn to the latest rally in Arlington. A number of Arlingtonians who are upset with the removal of the BLM banner came together to voice their concerns at a peaceful rally in front of Town Hall. ACMi news correspondent Anim Osmani was at the rally.
Arlingtonians have gathered at Town Hall on Tuesday evening to protest the Select Board's decision of removing and replacing the BLM banner. The unanimous decision by the Select Board on September 14th left some residents in dismay, ultimately leading to today's protest. The event was also accompanied by a public art project allowing people to pick up chalk and drop messages across the plaza. Laura Kiesel, one of the organizers of today's event, voices how public support reinforces the meaning of what the banner stands for.
So obviously, I think that's testament that there is a huge public support to keep the Black Lives Matter banner up, but even more importantly to address that statement with more concrete policy changes that also make us a more diverse and equitable community, which I don't think we are right now because of things like taking it down without feedback of the community and because of the Padrini issue as well.
Some citizens believe the banner should hang in front of Town Hall for as long as it needs to be.
Until we have racial equality, until there's no longer any tension, racial tension in the town. And that won't be for me to say, that will be for our residents of color to say.
I think it should be up as long as racism is still a systemic thing in the city and in other parts of the state, in other parts of the country, other parts of the world. Because Black lives are in danger and being exploited all over the world. And of course, it's a local thing too. So it should stay up as long as these systems are in place and Black lives are in danger.
A warrant article was submitted prior to the 2 p.m. deadline today requesting the BLM banner stay in front of Town Hall. For ACMi News, I'm Anim Osmani.
It looks like the banner's ultimate fate may not be decided until town meeting. In his conversation with ACMi News this week, town manager Adam Chapdelaine chronicled the banner's saga.
I'll just give a brief history. As I think a lot of folks know, the Select Board voted to put the banner up at the request of the Human Rights Commission and adopt a resolution which called for the banner to be put up back in the summer. When they adopted that resolution, the resolution actually called for it to be up for a finite amount of time through a date in July. At that point, it was considered to be taken down, but the board decided based on public feedback to keep it up for a longer period and asked me to come back in September with a recommendation for what to do. So I came back at the 2 board meetings ago and recommended that the board take it down at the end of September, and then we could put together the right group of people to determine when the right time going forward is to exhibit it on Town Hall or on other town properties or in some way in town. One of the board members proposed that we do take it down on September 30th, but that we highlight the town's commitment to non-discrimination and post in a very conspicuous way at the entryways to Town Hall an excerpt from the town's non-discrimination bylaw. So we have had signs made up to do that. There's going to be construction starting on Town Hall Plaza, which I think we talked about, and construction fencing going up, and we're going to put the signs up on that fence, as well as at the entrances to the annex behind the back of the building. So I think the board, I know the board is committed to doing work, continuing work around race, equity, justice. We're going to talk more about that actually at Monday night's meeting, the road ahead and the work that we're planning or proposing to do. But going forward, and I think going forward, the board is going to have to think about the feedback of residents about the banner coming down and working together to figure out what the right path forward is about, whether it be a sign on town hall or other town buildings or wherever placing that value statement is eventually deemed appropriate. I think there's discussions at the board level yet to come.
You can find the full conversation with Adam on the ACMi News Facebook page, as well as the town's website. ACMi News now remember a war hero. At Buzzell Field, Arlingtonians gathered to celebrate the unveiling of a new monument in honor of Lieutenant Richard Buzzell, who grew up right here in Arlington in the 1950s. ACMi News was there, and Anim Mosani has the story.
On Monday, September 28th, residents gathered here at Buzzell Field Park to attend the unveiling ceremony of a new monument.
At this time, Steve Sawtell and Bill Hayner from the Veterans Council will unveil our monument.
The memorial is dedicated to the late Lieutenant 3rd Grade Richard Buzzell, an Arlington resident who was killed in action during the Vietnam War. The new plaque memorial was revealed the day after what would have been his 78th birthday. The previous monument was in disrepair, says Jeffrey Chung Lo, director of the Veterans Affairs Department, and was in need of renovation. Aside from the plaque restoration, other improvements include a new flagpole with solar lights to illuminate both the flag and the plaque. Additionally, park benches have been added.
And this is a great location for people to enjoy. So I think it's a great location for a veteran memorial, and hopefully it'll help educate people when they come here to read the plaque and see that, yes, this is a gentleman who grew up in Arlington, who gave his life for our country.
Richard Buzzell grew up in Arlington, graduated from AHS in 1961, and then went to Annapolis to become a helicopter pilot for the U.S. Navy. Following the completion of his training, he was shipped to Vietnam. Lieutenant Buzzell was killed in action on December 19, 1970. Town leaders were also present at the unveiling ceremony. The chair of the select board, John Hurd, shared his thoughts about the memorial, followed by town manager Adam Chapdelaine.
And I'm ashamed to say that before this day, I never really took the time to know the man that was behind the name on the field. In preparation for today, I got to learn the amazing, heroic story of Lieutenant Richard Buzzell.
This is such a great opportunity to inform all of us who didn't really know about the story of Lieutenant Buzzell, about his bravery, about his service to the community.
It took a lot of collaboration to restore the memorial, and Jeffrey Chung Lo wants to voice his gratitude to all those involved in the process.
I would just really like to thank all the members of the Department of Public Works. There were lots of different departments involved with this. Everybody came together. They did a great job. Just fantastic work all the way along. Town management, everybody's been very supportive. The members of the Veterans Council, I'd like to thank them for their participation as well. And most of all, the residents. It's nice to see residents come out for the ceremonies and recognize service members that have passed. So I hope this will be a nice place for residents to relax in the future.
An official rededication ceremony for Richard Buzzell will be held as part of the Memorial Day events of next year. For ACMi News, I'm Anim Osmani.
If you have found yourself on the Minuteman Bikeway in the recent past, you may have bumped into various art pieces from haikus to sculptures. Anim Osmani explains how and why they are there and gone.
A still and calm pond. A wonder of the bike paths. The unnoticed tree. That is one of many different haikus you might come across in East Arlington along Mass Ave. The haikus are one of many different projects the Arlington Commission for the Arts and Culture is working on along the bike paths. Bikeway Haiku is a story with this particular project, which was originally organized in 2018 to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Minuteman Bikeway. Haikus were stenciled onto the sidewalks by community members, highlighting experiences they had on the bikeway. Like many projects that ACAC conducts, the haikus were temporary. They might have washed away from the bike path, but they've been added onto Arlington's main corridor for a more vibrant feel in these sometimes gloomy days.
They were all stenciled. The stencils were stored in the basement of one of our volunteers. And we thought, well, it's a tough time for people, COVID-19. Maybe we could do something to cheer people up and enliven the streetscape and make Arlington more vibrant and bring those poems out again and bring them to life. So on the bikeway, Each line was spaced 20 feet apart, so people had to keep moving to read the poems, but there's no need for that on Mass Avenue. So the poems are compact, but they're also colorful. On the bikeway, we just painted them in white. On the sidewalk along Mass Avenue, we used bright yellow, bright orange, purple, blue, and we mixed up the colors so that maybe one line or even one word in a line would pop out because it's a vibrant, bright color. And it makes them sort of more fun to read, more playful, more interactive.
Another ACAC project is Pathways, an initiative to put public art on the bikeway. A beloved work of art is Colony, a bird-sized architectural artwork that is sculpted onto trees. The local artist at work, Christopher Frost, talks about the inspiration behind the sculpture.
You know, when contacted and asked if I wanted to do a piece along the bike path, which is wonderful because it's a path that I use quite a bit, and it's an absolutely beautiful location. So, you know, we're seeing a lot of that right here. This is essentially the view from Colony looking down on Spy Pond. And it came about with this idea of maybe interacting with birds, as we hear a blue jay going in the background. And I worked with my daughter, actually, to come up with some ideas. And we thought we'd do maybe a couple kind of fancy birdhouses and trees along the way. And then we thought, well, what if we put a couple birdhouses together in one tree? And then the idea just kept snowballing and snowballing. What if it's a whole city of birdhouses all together? And lo and behold, there we are.
Colony was expected to last only a few months at its 2018 inception, but due to its popularity, it outlived those expectations. And Christopher Frost feels blessed by the community's feedback and involvement.
One of the major aspects of this particular piece, as you've seen, is the community involvement. Now, that is not something I expected at all. I thought that we would have involvement when hopefully birds would roost in there and people would be watching that. But instead, people have kind of taken it as their own and added to it. And I feel like that is just incredible. You know, it's a wonderful addition. It's pure chance and wonderful luck.
However, due to the materials and the health of the tree, Colony was not meant to last forever. Before it gets taken down, Christopher Frost hopes Arlingtonians will take a certain message from his sculptures.
You know, one of the more important ideals is to draw attention to the setting. And even though this is such a beautiful area, this location, you know, you see people zipping by on bikes and running by, and you know, it's always nice, I think, to kind of stop and observe. And of course, when you place something up in a tree, now all of a sudden you're looking up, whereas before you might not have gone above eye level. And it's just an observance to the thing that's going on around you. And then the idea of making birdhouses is this other ideal of drawing attention to, you know, the natural world.
2 miniature sculptures were added onto the bike path to help fill the void that might be left behind. To learn more about what the ACAC is working on, visit artsarlington.org. For ACMi News, I'm Anim Osmani.
Thanks for all those stories, Anim. This week, Sydney's Media Moment uncovers a powerful documentary that you may never heard of. It's a riveting story of faith and fearlessness in Liberia. Here's Sydney Britt.
Hello Arlington, my name is Sydney Britt, and I welcome you to Sydney's Media Moment. In honor of the International Day of Nonviolence on October 2nd, I want to recommend a documentary that celebrates peace overcoming violence. And that documentary is Pray the Devil Back to Hell. Pray the Devil Back to Hell is a film directed by Jeannie Rittiker and produced by Abigail Disney. It premiered at the 2008 Tribeca Film Festival, where it would go on to win Best Documentary. This film tells the story of a peace movement known as the Women of Liberia's Mass Action for Peace. The movement was started by women who wanted to put an end to the Second Liberian Civil War.
Dr. Charles Taylor, with this message that the women of Liberia, including the IDP, we are tired of war.
It all began when a social worker called Lima Bowie had a dream in which she was told to get all the women of the churches together to pray for peace. Bowie would go on to gather all the Christian churches together where she would call for peace.
We feel it's now time to rise up and speak, but we don't want to do this alone. We want to invite the other Christian churches So come and let's put our voices together.
At this meeting, there was one Muslim woman present called Asatu Ba Kenneth. She, moved by their message, said she would call upon her Muslim sisters to join in on this fight for peace. In this documentary, we see the Christian and Muslim women of Monrovia, the capital of Liberia, protest peacefully through sit-ins and meetings with warlords and the president, Charles Taylor. It was the first time Christians and Muslims had worked together in such a way. In this film, we get to see the outcomes of their efforts, as the woman convinced the warlords and President Taylor to meet in Ghana for peace talks, where the woman would continue to put pressure on them until they came to an agreement. The powerful actions of these women led to change in Liberia, resulting in a new democracy run by President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. She was the first woman to be elected president in any African nation. Pray the Devil Back to Hell is an awe-inspiring documentary that interviews the women behind this movement. It tells the story of how they continued peaceful protesting and sit-ins as bullets rained down upon their land and violence ran amok in the form of child soldiers. It shows their bravery and their resilience as they never gave up, all in their pursuit for peace. Pray the Devil Back to Hell is available for free on Amazon Prime Video, and it has a rating of 18+ due to graphic descriptions and depictions of the Liberian Civil War. If you're looking for something to watch on this International Day of Nonviolence, I recommend you check out this film.
Thanks, Sydney. That would do it for this week. You can find this newscast and lots of other great content at our website at acmi.tv. Don't forget to tune in next week, but for now, have a great day. For ACMi News, I'm Maxim Isaac.
You can always check out our latest segments and newscasts on the web at acmi.tv/news. And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ACMi News. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. You'll find us at youtube.com/ACMi News. If you have any news tips for us or wish to become a citizen journalist, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at news@acmi.tv or stop by ACMI Studio A at 85 Park Avenue.